enter this area.
When they start moving, you start moving as well, because they're going to get you.
We have a problem in our police department that is systemic.
This is 1 week in Portland, Oregon, where anti-police protests have been going on for more than 100 days, and tensions between protesters and police have only escalated. As we got there, a member of the right-wing group Patriot Prayer named Aaron J. Danielson was killed by an anti-fascist protester.
Jay loved his country.
Everyone we spoke to said they feared violence would escalate.
The reason that we're out here is because petitions don't work. Voting for the lesser of two evils just leaves us worse off every time.
We come out, we fight.
We're not doing this because we hate America. We all have one goal in mind, and that is ending police brutality.
Black Lives Matter!
People are dying, and if water bottles being thrown at the police stops that, I'll do it every day.
How long have you been coming to the protests?
The whole time. Since May 29th for me.
Our role is basically frontline medic support. No matter where it comes from, it could be tripping in the street, it could be getting pushed into a building, it could be gunshots. We cover it all.
I've had to de-escalate about 3 outside agitators who have come in with guns. They were always far and few in between. It was like some guy who was like, Antifa's terrorists. We're like, we're not terrorists, man. It's just a protest.
Do a lot of people have weapons?
We don't have weapons.
We don't have weapons. The most weaponized we get is like shields.
What do you say to the people who are like, well, I like the peaceful protest, but when they burn stuff or break windows, that's different from BLM?
I say, property doesn't bleed, but I do. If ending systematic oppression means a store gets burnt or looted and nobody's hurt, how is that any worse than living in a situation where I have to fear for my life every day?
We are on top of the donut shop, which is ironically located across from the Portland Police Union. Often the protest will continue for a couple hours, and then all of a sudden, there will be a huge rush of riot cops.
Police car behind you!
Back in May, when the protest started, did you have a gas mask or any of that
No, of course I didn't have a gas mask. I mean, I had face masks for COVID, but none of us had gas masks. I think we've raised about $30,000 this week to buy bulletproof vests because it turns out that we might need them, and that's really terrifying.
So I've got a body cam to record things that need evidence in court. I currently have a head injury. Like I'm still recovering from a TBI. It was back when we were still under the federal occupation.
That was July, right?
Yeah. But yeah, no, they shot me directly in the head with a tear gas canister, and then I got post-concussion syndrome like 22 hours later, so.
Something I've kind of noticed in just a few protests that we've attended is that there's a moment of kind of party feeling, you stand in front of the police, but then there's a moment where it kind of like gets quiet, and it's like there's a tension. It seems to almost be inviting the confrontation, like that the protest can't end without that clash.
Yes, a big part of what's happening here is that it has to be uncomfortable.
Well, before we even came out of the park, the LRAD over there decided to announce that it was an unpermitted march. People were not happy, so people started marching. Someone threw some incendiary devices, and then all hell broke loose. And there was tear gas flying in, fireworks. It was really rough, and they're making a push.
How do you see it ending?
I'm not sure. We haven't seen much of any change, but the people out here are activists, and maybe they didn't start as activists, and that carries on for the rest of your life.
President Trump has warned Antifa will ruin the suburbs.
Does anybody want to have somebody from Antifa as a resident of your suburb? I don't think so.
You, Antifa! We don't want your Marxist here in Portland, Salem, Oregon. Take a hike!
Both sides say they act only in self-defense. But in person, things get out of hand quickly.
Take balls! Take balls!
As far as Patriot Prayer, we do not condone violence. That's not what we're about. I can't speak for some of these other guys, but in the end, we all love our country and support our president.
Do you think this is some kind of weird civil war?
I don't see it as that yet, but eventually it could lead to that. Because the whole BLM Antifa movement has just gotten more and more and more violent as time progresses.
Enough! Enough!
And it's literally across the nation. And we're tired of it. It's time for us as patriotic citizens to take back our cities. And if it means by violent means, we'll have to do it.
Ellie Reeve, CNN, Portland.